Back from the dead. So people, I think we made a nice, very nice statue. The fox itself, and just a second. Huh. I'm taking a look if everything is on. Righty. Seems a bit weird. I don't see that the stream on YouTube would work now. I guess something's wrong. Or stream finished. Why? Aha. It says live now. Then it has to be live. 1 second. It says stream. Excellent. Okay. I think everything works now. And if I refresh this chat, it says streaming. Good. I guess then it was something wrong in the chat itself. Okay. Now where we left off is with this mechanic that I want to implement, and it's a bit of gambling and challenges. So this one decides the difficulty, this one decides the penalty, and this one should decide reward or something like that. That'd be cool, huh? Then maybe Bunny could be reward, because Bunny is connected to luck, and the bull could be about the difficulty. No, not the difficulty itself. So every time you'd have like 3 shrines with which you have to interact. Okay, I'm gonna save it and just take a look how is it going in Godot. I also messed something with what is it called, with the pool system again. I made it synchronous again, and I can't remember why I did that. If I go here and try to take a file history. This was something regarding this. Added a shrapnel interval timer for the item effects. Again, made parent node removal of the node. Why did I set it? Added health to the ice walls. What kind of ice walls? Huh. Two months ago. Okay, we'll see. But we're going with the reward dial system first, so rewards pool is gonna be like an element, which is then, how should we say, entry type. Here I could say item and item ID, because now with the current one, where we're going is actually, if we go to sequence challenge room, I just want to see how big the bunny statue is in this case. Yeah, there's place for 2, definitely. For 3 it would be a bit too much. But for example, if you would go here, and then we would have like another one. If we duplicate this one, call it Fox statue. This one, I'm really proud of his face. Like, looks good. And then if we go back to the sequence challenge room, would there be a place for 3? I'm not sure. Like this. It would be like pick your own doom. First you gamble here about the difficulty, but it wouldn't be Fox. That one would be Wolf or something. What did I draw here? Now that I look at it, I believe that this one should set the difficulty, the fox, because it represents the trickster. How difficult you have to move and so on. This one should represent the penalty, and this one should represent reward. At least I think so. But in what order we should go? If you first pick yourself a reward, or you first have to pick yourself difficulty, and everything is RNG. Only the further you go, the pool is gonna be different of the rewards. But how would that look, that if you spin like different items and so on, and you commit yourself in it? It's a bit cooler thing, because you would know, okay, I can receive this cool sword that's in here, but the pool of luck, I mean, the difficulty is gonna be picked from higher chances of being very difficult. And the pool of the bad things is gonna be very, very bad. Yeah, let's first hook him with the reward. That's the basic psychology. Oh, I really want to get this. Oh, but I have to compete. And the penalty is last. So it's a crime and punishment. Okay, but what is this creature? Can I call it bull? I think he's good enough. Or would I have to expand on him a bit here on the side to indicate somehow that he has ears, of course. I guess this is the part that was missing. Kind of. Okay, good enough. Only thing that's bothering me is that Bunny Wabbit doesn't have any white on his top of the head. Here we go. Let's implement this dude. These 3 shrines. I'm excited about it because I don't remember that any mechanics would have a thing like that. And the last one's gonna be called Bull. Yeah. So we have Fox statue, Bunny statue. I have to create a base scene for this. Definitely. And all 3 of them will inherit from it. Oh, just a second, be right back. Back. Oh, buddy boy, I'm here. So Logan, yeah, I was thinking about it, and there's gonna be like three statues. The fox is gonna represent the difficulty. The bunny is gonna represent the reward. And this dude is gonna represent the penalty, the bull. You mess with the bull, you get the horns, but the difficulty should be represented by the fox itself. Because foxes are tricksters, you know. And it's a bit in a way that you choose your own fate. Did you have a good session, dude? Let's call this one a fortune altar, or yeah. Yeah, but not everybody's gonna be juggling dice. The fox is gonna be juggling dice. This one's gonna be juggling like icons regarding the penalty, so you will know which penalty you can get. And this one's gonna be juggling items. So when you get to this thing, you're gonna know, okay, I can get this sword or this, you know, it's gonna be rotating. And you're gonna pick it. Oh, I can do this. But once you lock in, once you touch with any of the portal, if you want to go away, I mean, I'm gonna remove the exit, definitely. If you touch it, you have to commit to it. That's it. Definitely. That's a smart way to do it, man. Soak it in, try to learn the most of it, and that's it. Now, I want to create like a parent class or parent scene for this thingy. And the parent thing is going to be called... not the dial. Yes, the sleep was okay, and I think I had enough of sleep. I woke up all by myself, no alarm, no dog, nobody. Yeah, exactly, but still, you know, I get something done, like this idea regarding the juggling and stuff, it was done in the night stream, right? And I think it's good, but kind of hope that not too much scope creep is gonna come in. Let's call this one reward altar or reward statues. You know what? It's a singular. It's only one that's gonna be, and then we're gonna have configurations of them. Reward statue. It's the same thing for everything. Like bunny. And all of them, they are just reward statues in the end. Bunny statue. We're gonna go this way around. Everybody's interactable, but bunny statue comes from the reward statue itself. If I'm gonna need specifics regarding the class, I have the ability, but as a core, we're gonna have the reference to the dial. A reward dial, right? That's the thing that we worked on yesterday. So let's have it here. And then we're gonna have to take the references to all the things that represent our scene. So, bunny statue itself, I want to see it in the file system. I'm gonna name it just the statue, or reward statue, like that. Default is gonna be bunny. And Here we go. And then we have to implement on interact. Interactable. Like here on this one. I'm gonna have to overwrite this thingy here as well. I think in the interactable I already have global reference, so that's okay. So public override void interact. And like that. And then we're gonna get all the specifics regarding the reward and so on. So we pick one stuff from that. We're gonna call it reward dial entry. So here we're gonna interact with reward dial, and then we're gonna store the thing that was chosen. But before that, we just have to probably create some kind of a signal where we will emit. But you know what, regarding the signals, when I travel a couple of levels up, I always want to use the signal bus, global bus, if I make sense. Kind of like using them. Here we go. If we go to public delegate, void. You know, now if you're saying regarding to the code that I'm writing, it's actually, you know, for example, if you want to execute a function on one object that it's like very far away from the other, then you have to like drill up, you know, get some kind of a global thing, then interact through that. It's about managing the connections. So what I'm doing here, I have one controller, events controller, that I can access relatively easy anywhere when I have the reference to the global. So what I do is, for example, say global events controller. And this thing is actually this class here. And this class only has events. And I'm gonna subscribe to it. So I'm gonna listen if something happens on this channel. And when it does, I can, for example, react to that change somewhere differently. I mean, some other place. For example, like in the reward room itself. So I don't have to have a huge reference to the reward statue and so on. I just have to listen to the changes on this channel. It's like a separate telephone line, if I make any sense. So what I'm doing now is actually creating a telephone line through which these things are gonna communicate. Reward statue with the reward room and so on. Some people call it an anti-pattern from time to time, but no. Because in the front end and so on, when you have like different components and you have to prop drill and do stuff like that, that becomes a nightmare very fast. And that's where the state management systems come in, even in the front end like React or Vue or Angular. And you have different event buses and so on. Okay, so we have public delegate void, and we can say reward chosen event handler. And here we're gonna say Reward dial entry. So when I'm gonna choose reward, I'm gonna call this line and I'm gonna send through this. So this is gonna be emitted from the reward statue. But naming is giving me the biggest headache here. Not rewards chosen. Reward from reward statue. Not selected, but set. Set or chosen. I'll see. Maybe we're gonna rename it a couple of times, but yeah, everything is a part of the process. Actually, here, when we're gonna have a reward dial, we're gonna work with this like that. Get node, reward dial. And this statue is gonna be executing a function on the reward dial, like init or something. Public void init, and we can pass in the rewards pool itself in the init. I say this rewards pool, I'm referring to this one up here, is gonna have a value of this. The only difference is that I use this when I'm referring to the classes properties themselves. So when I assign it, then I spawn everything. So these are gonna be like sprites that are gonna be rotating. Then I'm gonna start spinning them. And on interact, I'm gonna select a reward or something like that. And it's that part of time when coffee kicks in. So be right back. I'm gonna take 10. Here we go, here we go. Only 3 kilos lighter. Okay, let's go. So we have spawn reward nodes, then we have spin reward tween. That's okay, that's gonna happen on the init itself. And select reward, that's gonna be the final one. And I squeezed it, man. It's almost like it fell out itself, you know. Then I'm gonna add reward dial entry resource. This is gonna be returned. Now this is gonna be set here, so I can make it private. Don't have to export it anymore. The old quick pinch. Yep. You know when you just sit down and everything realigns in the guts, and it just goes down like through the slide. You don't even have time to say goodbye to it. Okay, now rewards pool. This is gonna be a simpler. I'm not gonna have like the weighted list here, because we're gonna represent the chances of the thing falling in only by the number of times it's in the pool itself. So what can I do here? Do I have utility? Random something? Random entry from the list. Huh, now that I think about it, I can have list here. List. And this one goes here. And this is also gonna be list. There we go. And then I can just select one from a rewards pool. And I'm gonna return one. Like this. Okay. And the reward statue is gonna be taking care of assigning rewards to the reward dial. So here what we're gonna do is gonna be let's say I'm gonna take the pool of rewards from somewhere from the level itself. That's where I'm gonna specify which rewards can be placed there. But maybe, if I think about it a bit more, we get the reference to the reward dial, then we get the subscriptions, we're gonna emit them. That's gonna be emitted here. We're gonna do the safety checks up front. If the dude is not valid, we just return, or else we're gonna emit stuff like here. Emit signal, and then I have events controller class, signal name, and this thingy, and we're gonna have a picked reward emitted here. That's okay. And before that, we have to initialize the dial. Init. We can have like a private function here. dial. This has to be void. I forgot about the return type. And here we say that global. I'm gonna have to take in account the difficulty, or maybe some kind of base player stats. For example, if you have, I don't know, a cartridge that increases your chances of getting better items, maybe we can add more better items into the reward dial pool. This would fit in here, in this place. But we'll see. Now this picked reward, I don't have to have it here anymore. Or do I? We'll see. One thing I'm sure is that we could have like an export and an enum reward statue type, and the first one would be rabbit, fox, bull. Okay. And by this, we can then kind of also start to populate like the weighted list in the level itself. What's in there? So if I go to level resource, it's level based, not biome based, so it makes sense. So I have penalty types, but I believe that I changed this to reward type or something like that. This one, reward dial entry type. Level resource. Here, rewards and penalties for challenge rooms. I call it reward types or rewards pool. So we said rabbit represents reward. gold, maybe. A rare occasion for meta coin. Item. Difficulty. And penalty. Gotta think about it a bit more, because if I have like a reward dial entry type, I can have it's bothering me that it's too many things scrapped in a single enum. In the evening that sounded kind of good, but the more I think about it, it's not the best thing. I think I'm gonna go split it in a couple of sub-resources. If I have reward dial entry, I have then reward dial penalty entry. Okay. Gonna sound weird, but this is how it's gonna work. Then we're gonna have reward dial reward entry. And reward dial penalty entry. And reward dial difficulty entry. And things are gonna inherit from reward dial entry. Entry resource. This one, it's also gonna be 2. We're gonna expose global class. Reward dial reward entry. This one, same goes here. Let me close off a couple of things. Sequence challenge, what's going on here? Observe state. Okay, so this was scrapped in from yesterday. I didn't touch it yet. I'm gonna close it. But here we have reward dial, and then we go to reward dial difficulty entry. It's good. Penalty entry, this one has to be inherited. From that. And this one is already good. And now this thingy is a parent of those things. And yeah, we're gonna split up into a couple of separate enums this thing. Basically this one isn't gonna be used anymore. I'm gonna just steal it. Penalty type makes sense for it to be more generic like that, so that's okay. But the class regarding the penalty resource is gonna be deleted. Export, and we say public penalty type, penalty type. Whole thing to be forgotten. Let's delete it. Penalty resource. Like that. So it's not gonna bother us anymore. And now it lives here. But let's rename it a bit differently. Penalty. It's good. Should I call it dial penalty type? Yes, because I know that for the quest itself I have rewards, and that's gonna be messing with my naming. Okay. So this is penalty type, then we go forward, and here we say 3 resource, reward, reward. And here what we're gonna have is gonna be another public enum, dial reward type. And we could say, for example, gold could be a reward. We could say another thing, metacoin, which should be very rare. Let's have nones on zeros always. And the third, the most frequent one, item. And the thing we have here then is export public dial reward type. Naming of this shit. Because I have reward dial reward entry. Then I have dial reward type. Price. Reward dial reward is... it's very difficult. I mean... what's the difference between a reward and a price? Ain't one, huh? A prize is something won in a competition. Contest or a game of chance, usually awarded to the best performer or winner. A reward is a return or compensation for effort. Okay, then maybe prize. Dial prize type. Okay. And then this one could be also renamed reward dial prize entry. And that would read much, much better. Prize entry. Okay, opening it. Prize entry resource. This makes sense. And last but not least, so we have like difficulty entry, penalty entry, and prize entry. Difficulty entry would be from 1 to 6. Public enum dial let's call it, where did I have it? I have it like here in level resource. And here. Just gonna seize it. And we do export. Public dial difficulty type, and we call it difficulty type. Okay. Now in price, based on price type, I would have to have one additional field, which would be called public int amount, and other one should be export public string name item ID, in case of we reward item itself. So if for example, if we have gold or meta coins, we take in account the amount field. If we have item price type, we take this in account. And now we have 3 different things that are gonna be juggling in the reward dial, if that makes sense. And each level is gonna have its own pool of these things. This is basically where we just specify the blueprints for what can be in a reward pool here or something like that. But, because there's always a big but, I always tell you that, there's a big chance that I really don't want to crap in item ID every time for all the chances. I want to use the loot system that I have. So I'm sure that I'd rather have this like with dynamic loot system. What do I have? Dynamic something. Dynamic. Huh. Let me check out the loot drop component. Loot context resource. Aha, this is just a flag. Okay. Let's have this one. Loot context resource. And I'm gonna be pulling from that loot controller items. So I could have like a... You know, if you have like two different systems of actually providing items, this can become pain to manage. But still, if I would have like an item itself, I could specify, okay, this for sure gets added into this pool here. So yeah, maybe it's good to keep two systems here at once. So I'm gonna add loot context resource. And this is then resolved via loot resolver. Yeah, let's do it this way. And this is probably gonna be the most frequently used thing. So, yeah. Now, let's go to the level resource. And finally we're gonna start adding this. So we can, for example, say that we're gonna have reward prize something. Come on. Reward dial prize entry resource. This. Like that. This is the first thing we pick. Then the second thing is gonna be that we're gonna have is gonna be the difficulty. What do I do here? Some mumbo jumbo with keyboard. Of course, this is new. Let's copy and paste it. Second one is difficulty. Difficulties. And the third one is penalty, right? Reward penalties. Reward, dial, penalty entry. Here we go. Okay, now we're gonna fill a couple of them out, and then we have to start wiring the shrines and everything. But let me just see how this looks in the editor. Maybe it's gonna crash, maybe not. Let's see. Okay, it didn't crash, so that's a positive. And then we can go here to the, let's say, we're gonna test out the test area. This is where we look for the functionality if everything's working, so test level. You know what? While I'm here, I can remove these ores that I was testing out. Stone, dino, silver, iron, gold, emerald, iron. Sequence plates, definitely we don't need them anymore. And the teleporter is needed. Then if we go to the sequence challenge room, I mean here, into level, and here we have now rewards and penalties. Or, you know what, I'm gonna rename this challenge rooms. I'm gonna be more general because we're definitely gonna have some blueprints for the challenge rooms. I was thinking maybe we should also have later like a race challenge room, that in certain distance there would be spawned like yellow mushrooms which give you back charges, and you have to complete laps in a certain time. But okay, that's far ahead. Saving the scene. And let's add a couple of reward prizes. And then I, for example, set here that it's gonna have loot context, and loot context is gonna come from, let's say, snip weapons, threat 1, and level ID null. We don't need that. Why do I have two amounts? Because one amount is up in the parent class. That's right, huh? Let me see that. Of course, this one gets nuked. Don't need it, and it probably would be good if I would have like cloaking enabled based on the dial price type. Yeah, let's do that. How did I usually implement this? I know that I have something in item data somewhere here, or validate property. Let's see if I can remember the logic for this thing. So we get in property, and if it's not editor we return, that's okay. Try get value name, blah blah blah. Ah, complications. Where else do I have this? Deal damage, item effect resource. Not so sure. You know what? I'm gonna LLM this thing out based on dial price type. I want to hide certain properties in the inspector. If price type is gold, display amount is gold or metacoin. Amount. If it is item, display only item ID. If it is context, loot context, display only loot context. It's gonna make the editor a bit more readable, because now this is a mess. Oh, and it says taking longer than usual. Subcloud. Okay. Full script, please. Okay. I think this thing is gonna work. This doesn't exist. Oh, idiot, it's trying to convince me to work on something that it doesn't exist, but okay. Don't really need it. This one especially not, because when I mess with this one, I display the correct thingy already. Let's see if it's gonna build. Probably it's gonna crash, no worries. Still building it. Okay. Did it build it? I didn't see anything. It just stopped, right? Okay, I did it. Now if it's none, it's disappeared. If it's gold, it has this. If it's meta, it has this. If it's item, it has only item ID. And loot context, loot context. This is exactly what we want. Clean reward types based on its type. So then I don't have to create like a reward dial loot context price entry. That would be annoying. We have one enum that handles this. That's okay. And for example, we can add also a price that's going to be gold. 300. And the price that's going to be metacoin. Probably not going to use it, but let's just add it. And this one is this. Then we have difficulty types. Difficulty type. Dice 1. Huh. Why do I have to? Because of this. Okay. I have to nuke this one out. Okay. Let's build again. As expected. Problems. Yeah, it was hallucinating a bit earlier regarding the property displays. But it's okay. I know exactly where to correct him, so no worries. But here, I just want to have like difficulties, different difficulty types. Now I'm thinking about it. I think I'm gonna have weighted list here as well, because I really don't want to grab tons of these resources in here. This is getting already boring for every entry like that. Okay, I'm gonna definitely have 6 entries, but you know, if I would have like statistical chance that dice 6 should land more times, then I would have to add more dices in the area, and that would suck. So, refactor time. Exactly. They go delusional. So how are you, man? What you working on today? Do they still have the picture of you on the forum? Let's go to the level resource. And the thing we're gonna have is weighted list resource. That's the thing we're gonna use now. I'm just not sure, do I actually specify the weighted list type here? I don't, right? I don't ever do that. No. Huh. So I kinda gotta remember the type that's gonna be saved here. But that's okay. Oh. Fun things, you say. Fun times. Okay. At least what I'm gonna try to do here is make myself comment for the future. Philip. Like this. Like this as well. And this one, last but not least. Now we're gonna have more interesting mumbo jumbo going on here. So Simon says, yep, standard. Guys working on new epics and I deal with urgent stuff. Moo guys. Yeah, my guys. I get you, dude, I get you. Well, that's okay, Mr. Treshovniak. You're used to this, you know. Right? That's why you were also represented on the forum, you know, like the king of AI or robots. It was an epic picture. Now we can have diminishing things. And this is where I have to now put in those thingies. And I said here that this is gonna have to be an object. Okay. Reward dial price entry resource. Yeah, that one. Dial price entry resource. Okay, for example, then I can say the chances of gold price is gonna be 3. And amount of that thing is gonna be like... Huh. You know what? Now that I think of it, amount can be a range. Minimum and maximum. See, this is how it goes in the end. This one, entry resource, not this one, price. So we go from integer to vector 2, I. So amount X is minimum, amount Y is maximum. I'm just gonna remove this one. Or rebuild it. Yep, story of my life, I don't care anymore as long as it's paid. I can do more pleasurable stuff for myself. Of course, just pay and it's okay. It even rhymes. So prices are now here. Object. New one. This one, and now if I said that this is gonna be like gold, I have minimum gold of, let's say, 100 and maximum to 150, and I want chance of this thing to appear 3 times with that weight. Okay, and then another price is gonna be this one. It's gonna have item from the loot context, and we're gonna say that this thing is gonna come from the pool of, let's take it from Snip's weapons. And the chances of this picking is going to be like 5 or something. By chances, I mean actually how many times the entries are going to be added to that pool. So I'd kind of want to limit it to 6 entries maximum. So let's go with this 2. And with this one to 4. Okay, now these are prizes themselves. I'm gonna save it. Then we're gonna have difficulties. And in the beginning, I hope that difficulty isn't gonna be hard. So this is gonna be represented by dice. Let's add new value. No, dude. Didn't. I know it's gonna increase the laziness, you know. I'm still on a dying dinosaur terms here, you know. Use it for rubber ducking a lot of times. AI itself, and for bug fixes, sometimes for ideas, but never that I would just lift my fingers up and let it do something on my machine. Kinda don't want to poison this project with that. Really. I know it works and it's probably the future, but I just don't want to touch it yet on this project. Now this one should have chance of 3. Like that. Can I copy it? Paste value. Paste value, no. Copy. Paste value. Why can't you be pasted? What about now? No. Copy. Object. Paste as unique. Now it works. Let's say dice 2. Value of 2. And another paste unique. And dice 3, that's difficulty 3. Value of 1. Okay. So these are the difficulties. Only 3 in the beginning. And then penalties will have to be something more. Reward. Penalty entry. And I'm gonna have, for example, take 50% damage. We still have to implement them when it's gonna be executed. But for now, let's just focus on populating the pools, and then we're gonna have this copied, pasted in here as unique. And for example, take 25 damage. Paste as unique. Take 75 damage. Another paste unique and another penalty, and this level is gonna be spawn enemies medium, easy, whatever that means in the future. So it should be juggling like 4 of these entries at least. Somewhere I should specify how many entries have to be added to each of pools. But okay, for now we have this populated, I mean assigned here. So Simon says, same for me, it piques my interest in terms of how much power it gives to end user. And things like that. They have the ability to get requested data instantly without having a prior tech knowledge. Exactly. Exactly, it becomes like, you know, I'm kind of really afraid what future brings regarding the mankind. I don't see it as a paradise if AI takes over everything. There's just too much dystopia stuff on that. I think this was one of the cool things, even if it goes like in pleasure future. It's a fucked up world, man. I read this even a book. Even the book itself, Brave New World, and there was also a series I watched. It kind of depressed me. Either it goes this way or the Orwell way. Actually, here's the new, here's the series. They only made 1 season and then they cancelled it, but it's good. Creepy stuff. I guess I'm leaning towards more back to, yeah. Definitely. I noticed this myself when I had Copilot. I've axed it. I don't use it anymore in the code. Because sometimes it gave me good recommendations, but I didn't really think about the things that it proposed a lot of times. And I know that a lot of times I was just idling, you know, waiting for it to autocomplete stuff, maybe writing out a comment and then waiting for a correct solution. And then in the end, when I had to refactor stuff, I had to remember, okay, what was I doing here and there and so on. I just decided, no, I'm not gonna pay the subscription anymore for that. If I need a problem that I really struggle with, or if it's a boilerplate thing that I have to do, I'm gonna use the LLM like GPT or Cloud there and not have it in my IDE anymore. I think that it helped me kind of a bit. Coming back to typing out stuff, you know. Using only autocomplete maybe or IntelliSense, and that's it. Okay, now we have this. And we have to wire these shrines together. So, prize, difficulty, penalty. First you interact with the prize one, then you interact with the difficulty one, and then you interact with the penalty one. And in the beginning, this one's gonna be juggling all the stuff that you can choose from. That can be like a prize. This one's gonna be juggling the dice, the difficulty pool, and this one's gonna be juggling the penalty pool. And we're gonna have to come up with penalty pool icons for now. But first we have to populate the dial, because I want to have some kind of effect. Not sure if I want this interaction to be like, you know, that the player can somehow select or have a chance of selecting the outcome. Not sure. You know, that it would be time-based, because I know that the exploits would come in like, yeah, we'll see. Let's go to the implementation. So now we have this things are called altar or statues, right? Reward statue. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Of course. If you can make it random but just fast enough to where you can't react quick enough to the visuals, then it's both random and player driven. Well, yes, that would make it player-driven, but with lower chance of player on succeeding, right? Picking the right loot. And Simon, about the agentic systems and so on, I wonder how the security is put in. That somebody isn't very nice and talkative to the system. Mm-hmm, exactly. You start to do some therapy with the dude and it spits out the thing that it shouldn't have, or I don't know. Well, in the end, depends how you protect the APIs yourself, but still, if you have a full access to the database. Exactly. We'll see. I just don't want the player to get epileptic seizures, you know, if we're gonna be spinning. Everything is just a big theory for now, so we're gonna see how it goes. Okay, sequence challenge room. We're gonna have a shrine here. Exactly. like having a kid statue. Well, the challenge rooms come in. Second thingy regarding the cavernous depths gets finished. Frozen depths, and that's it. Then we add only more content and so on regarding the already existing systems that we have. Now, for example, I think this is one of the last bigger systems that I'm building. Challenge rooms. But then it's more or less just putting out the content. Like different points of interest, different spawn types, maybe having a, I don't know, pharmacy spawn type where you know that more health regeneration items will be, and so on. Yeah, a lot, right? One of the last mechanics, I mean, two bigger mechanics that I still have to implement is the leaderboard system and the daily runs. That's one thing that I really want before early access release. And the second one is achievements, because those things kind of motivate players to keep on playing. If you can make players compete on the leaderboard system, I think that kind of also drives initiative to play and replay a bit more. And achievements also, if you want to dig in and so on. So yeah, it's still something. But challenge rooms, now this is gonna be the pattern remembrance challenge room. Then I wanted to add something else, like, I don't know, we have arenas, which is okay, but I was thinking kind of going in terms of having a race or dodging, like you would have 4 different cannons that shoot at you and they drive up and down and so on, and if you dodge everything, you don't get hit, you get stuff. Steam actually allows you to have leaderboards, and that's okay, but backend, which I'm planning on having, is gonna be built on DirectX, and it gives me much more of a control that I want to have. So that's the place I would like to also save the statistics, like which mob killed the enemies most, what items are landing a lot of times, where did players die the most of times. So yeah, leaderboards are gonna be probably split into difficulty types: easy, medium, and hard, or easy, normal, and hard, something like that. And maybe it would be cool if somehow on the leaderboards you could compare yourself to your friends' scores, but that means that I would have to have relations between the players, and that's not something easy to implement, especially if I'm not gonna be releasing only on Steam, because I want to have some kind of a centralized system, if I make sense, and then I'm Steam independent. For example, I can have like achievements and so on stored in my database, and then I can handle from there unlocking of the achievements on Steam, Epic in the future, maybe on Nintendo, we'll see. But still, this brings again, you know, I have to store a key somewhere in the client, I have to do tons of stuff, so enough of babbling from my side, I have to implement this thing as soon as possible. Yeah, that's another thing, definitely. And the second thing that has to come from that, yeah, that's another thing we have to do, dynamic difficulty scaling of the enemies. In terms of, I could be reusing rats also in the future levels, but every rat that would spawn there would be not level 1 but level 3. So like scaling, stat scaling has to come in. For example, for each level I should increase, I don't know, like 10, 20, 30 health points and so on. Oh my god, freaking bot. We'll work on that. But let's see how many things can I cramp into early access. Hopefully enough that the people are gonna keep on playing. And then again I have to focus on the shorts again. That's what I'm gonna deal with in the evening. I have to push out 2 to 3 shorts this week. That's why, yeah. A lot of times balancing is nightmare, so it's gonna be good if we're gonna have like saved stats somewhere on the server and we can analyze that. And also a lot of times it's the best way to balance things by just playing it a lot, you know, seeing how it feels. I know that this is the method how it was used by the StarCraft 2 designer, you know. He played the game a ton of times and he balanced everything on the go, not from the spreadsheets directly. Yeah. Yeah, some screams and stuff like that. But okay, now let's start working on the reward dial. So this is the thing that's gonna spin. So we have init, then we have to spawn reward nodes. And the reward node is gonna be simple. Let's have export vaccine. We're gonna call it reward node. Dial reward node. Or reward dial price node. Price scene. And when we're gonna be spawning these things, this thing is gonna have to store some stuff. Let's make a scene first out of it. So it's a new scene, 2D, we call it reward dial price. New script. Reward something. Wait a second. Dials, yes. Okay. Reward dial price, that's okay. I have it here now. Now the thing is gonna be sprite 2D. It doesn't have to process anything. So we're gonna disable processing, I believe, on this whole node in the end. But the thing is gonna be that it's a simple thingy where I'm gonna store the reward itself. And this reward is coming from this. Okay. And then we could do like selection, highlight, blah 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 blah, 1,000 things. A lot of things. I mean, there's gonna have to be a lot of eye candy and these spinners. But first keep it simple. So for example, this could look like, I don't know, Voltor sword. By default. Scenes. Good enough. Reward dial, reward statue. Let's add a subfolder. And reward dial isn't interactable. It's gonna be here, like that. So this thing is gonna spawn. Let me just try to build it. Ah, of course you did. Thank goodness it's opening very fast. Here we have reward dial price. This one. So it's gonna be instantiating this thingies. And we're gonna have like node 2D. And this one should have like pivot. It's gonna be called pivot. And the pivot itself, it's gonna have children. Reward dial price. Example like this. Should I have this as children? Not sure, we'll see. Because if I rotate pivot, everything's gonna be rotating and that's not okay. I want the items to float upwards always. For example, if I take a look at this, in the transform, rotation, see? That's not gonna be okay. Woo, 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 woo. So we could call this rotation pivot, or just pivot, and then here we would have prizes. And I would have like target points here. Huh. You know, for example, pivot could have like target points, and the reward dial price just has to match one of its target points. It has to stay on it. And then I can modify the pivot itself, like in scale. For example, if I have marker 2D is gonna be a point, it's quite visible. For example, a marker here, marker there, depending on how many things we have in the prize pool. Then what we can do is actually scale this thing up. And it can have a breeding effect. And each of the reward dial price can also tween a bit. And if it's gonna spin, they're still gonna be rotated up, and we're doing this here. I think this could kind of work. And it's the naive way. I could do this in math, but I'm not good at math that much. So I'm helping myself visually a bit here. And it's not gonna be performance heavy because we're not gonna process anything else. Just the reward dial prices, and we're gonna rotate this a bit. And that's gonna be it. Huh. But then I'm thinking about it. If we would be rotating stuff, how would I know where it has to land? Just a second. Let's have a reward statue, and let's put in the reward dial. Somehow that this thing then comes in and then it flashes and we spawn a dropped item here or something. So the center of this circle will be above this thingy and it's gonna spin them. Vroom, vroom, vroom. And then we stop, tween it here, lift it up above everything else, zoom it in, tween it scale a bit, and spawn it here. Boom, like explosion. That's what I'm going for, at least now. I think it would be interesting. But before that, I gotta go take a leak, so be right back. back from the dead. Alrighty then we have a reward dial here. That one is okay. Let's just keep its rotation to 0 by default. And its position is gonna be... what are we gonna say? The radius of this thing... I kinda want to visualize how many things we need. Don't want to keep more than 6 things at a time up here. So maybe... if I try to spread it out a bit like that. And then it spins. So what is this? This is like, if I take the measuring tool, 32. Let's make 32 or more. 32, and I just offset this by 1 second, minus 32. What is that? Minus 40. There we go. Better. And then the pivot of this point has to be offset by, what's that, 25. Let's do 32. 24. 24 seems good. Okay. So 24 from the pivot point, reward dial. And we spin that thing. I can remove these things. Reward dial is gonna have them by themselves. And the marker, let's just fix the rotation of this thingy, 0. And the marker, for example, is on minus 24 and so on. And this thing has to match that thingy. And that's it. Oh, no, 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 no. We could make this dynamic. And this is exactly where I'm gonna need the LLM. Especially good place. We have dial. And we're gonna say that I'm just gonna grab the scene and everything. Reward dial. Let's try to type it out first, so the dude will know the context that what I'm talking about. And we're gonna have like node 2D. That's gonna be called pivot. Pivot. Reward spool, lowercase. And then we have prizes. Prizes parent. And then the ready function, we say that pivot. What kind of primitive? Pivot equals to get node. Node 2D. We say this and say pivot. And for the prizes parent, okay. Also, let's make it accessible by unique name. Like that. And here we're gonna say that price is parent, or in the init itself. Let's give it a good instruction. This is gonna spawn reward dial prizes. Scenes under the prizes parent. The space between the prize scene these prize scenes should be distanced from the center of the prizes parent node for 24 pixels. Prizes scenes should be distance for that radius. For that radius and be equally spaced out on the circle. When I call then this prizes they should spin with a certain speed in the circle, but their rotation shouldn't change. Meaning they should always be oriented up. That's why I think about the pivot and other points there. But what else we can say? On pick, on select reward, circle should sped up, rotate 3 more times, and slowly stop at the price, which was at the position at the lowest position. At the lowest position slash closest to the point 0.24. Now if this thing is gonna understand me, It should be good. Taking longer than usual. Cloud is having problems. I just love it when it spits out like 5 different snippets and I always have to tell him spit out the full script. I have no clue what this is gonna do. Okay. So this thing is the same, this is the same, pivot, prices, okay, spin tween. That's added, radius 24, that's good, idle spin duration. 4 seconds. We can modify that. Okay. Don't like it. I don't like it. I just don't like it what it spit out. Oh, postman. Here we go, here we go. Huh. Okay, Gemini, I think it's producing a bit better code in this case. At least I have a feeling that it does. Let's see. Yep. So when we init, we spawn reward nodes and then we start continuous spin. That's it. It's using tween. And it start rotating the pivot as relative. Okay. We counter rotate prices to keep them upright. Uh-huh. We sync this in process or via the same tween. Huh. Should I use process for this? Maybe, maybe not. It's okay. Then we have spin to win. This is what we're gonna call. Then it starts spinning. And rotating for 3. Await signal to finish, finished, and then land it on winning data. We do this. But we should return this thingy here. And we could return like that. Or just a second. Okay. So did anybody use Gemini before? I didn't use it a lot. Kind of just looked at it a couple of times. That's the sad reality of the things. If you're not the first, people just forget about it for a while. It's same thing like Red Bull and energy drinks, you know. It's dominating the market and maybe even Monster, but you know, everybody's gonna know. Oh, dude. Have fun, dude. Good night and see you again, dude. I gotta stop saying dude. Okay. Now do I even need pivot in these cases? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Just gonna remove everything here. And let's go to the statue. And the reward dial has been added, which is okay. And I'm just gonna place it in the test level here. So we can easily spin it and test what's going on with it. The mighty rabbit approaches. And the statue is responsible for initializing that thingy in its reward dial. And that's the place that this is called, and we say global levels controller currently loaded level resource. And arena or reward something, prizes, Next. What do I get back? I get back variant, which is actually what is that? It should be of a class reward dial price. No. Price entry resource. This one. This wants to get an array if I'm not mistaken. So I have to take... No, list. I have to take a couple of them out. Let's say for... Let's go with like 5 prizes. So 4 int I less than 5. We're gonna take this thing out. Like this, and then we create prizes list something reward dial entry resource. Like this. Prizes. Add price, and we init it here, but we don't have the initiation anywhere yet. We spawned them, but we don't set any icons yet, so we have to create an icon parser, or this is not 2D. Reward dial price. And here we have to have a reference to the sprite 2D. This thing is gonna have sprite 2D. Sprite 2D. And now we have to public override void ready, and we say that sprite2d equals to get note 2d like that. And when I'm initting this thingy, I should create resolve icon, something like that, private. Resolve sprite, public init. And we say we place in a reward. It's like a constructor, similar thing. And we say this reward equals to reward, and here we call resolve sprite. And this has to be void as well. And here we do lookups regarding these things. But, we're gonna have type checks. What kind of a reward dial entry resource is that? If it's a... okay. This reward is being called here. But I know that something's going on in the dial itself. This should be this one. Like that. I add the child to the prizes parent. So ready is being called here. The reference for the sprite should be there, and then we have to init. But okay. Rewards pull out of I. Or lowercase. Like this. That's when we spawn them. But this select reward is not taking in account anything regarding the rotation. So Gemini, middle finger. I'll have to fix that, but okay. Let's see how it goes forward. I just have to init it, and then here in the resolve sprite, if reward is penalty. And here I say Whew. The problem I have with loot context is that I don't know actually which item I'm gonna pick, so I have to resolve it here. So from loot context I have to then change it to item and select an item and then take the item sprite. Here I do the conversion. How do I use this already? Like this. CTX, and then I roll loot somewhere here. Roll loot guaranteed. Item ID. So this is what I'm gonna do. And then ready, we gotta take the reference for the global. Come on, why you bitching? Aha, conversion to string. And then what I do here is I change the price type, item, like this. Makes sense. If I have it like a loot context, I first set it to type of item. I mean, I roll the loot, then I set this type, and this is going to parse it correctly. Kind of makes sense, at least to me. Because the sprite of itself, if it's gonna be gold, maybe the thing could have like a label, how much amount of gold you can get, but yeah, let's see what's going on here. So sprite texture is gonna be like global, game controller, config, icons, resource, general, and then let's take a look. If we have icons here, icons resource. We have this one. Coin is gonna be for gold. Private static string name gold SN equals to new string name gold. We get the reference to this one. If it's metacoin, let's see, do we have metacoins? We do. So let's make a private static also for this thing. Metacoin. And then for the item itself, we have different thing to load. This one comes from global game controller. I think Atlas textures by name. Item something. And if we have price item ID, we get this one. Loot context isn't gonna happen anyway, because we earlier converted to that. I just want to see if how do I use this Atlas texture by what? Yes, item data resource. Oh, I can. I have to look up icon. So that means that I have to fetch item before that. Or item data resource. It shouldn't be hard. It's additional lookup, but it's items by ID. It's quite fast. Like this, and then we take item data resource dot icon. Okay. We got these things. So this is okay. Resolve sprite is being called here. Let's at least click play and see how many things explode, and then we're gonna continue. Exactly, because I didn't test it for a long time. Of course, semicolon. Here we go. Script inherits from native type area to this, so it can be assigned to what? Where are you crying? Just a second. Reward statue CS0. Aha. Reward statue. If I have interactable, then it has to be area 2D, right? 1 second. For example, if I have chest, yeah, I have to have it area 2D. Okay. Change the type, area 2D. First thing, then we need a collision shape, which is the same as that one. First thing that should be fixed. Ah, it's offset. Why do I offset it here? I offset this position probably. Play -2. Let's do the same. Let's try it out now. Okay, the thing is invisible now. I can't see that it's here, but that means that its sprite has to be, it has to have visibility messed up. What if I say ordering 1? Not really. Then this one has issues. Or maybe I put it not in the correct entity. Of course, this could be a problem as well. A reward statue, I put it as a child. Now it's better. So the reward statue is visible, but nothing got loaded yet. But I like it. I like how it looks in the world. It looks good. Okay. Let's see all the errors that occurred. Reward dial, node not found. First thing. This is being called an reward statue itself. Reward dial, I don't have it accessible as a unique name, so that's one thing. Now we can try again. Probably still some errors. Init reward dial. Reward statue 38. Okay. What do you say? Null reference. It shouldn't be any null reference here, because the test level itself, I have everything assigned. Do I? Let's go. Here we have weighted list. It has 2 entries. That's good. 3 entries. 4 entries. So these things exist, but then why you bitching about no reference? Well, global itself should be... I don't have it. Because I don't call base ready, probably. Yeah. In base ready I get this thingy. Still bad pattern because usually I had that one locked. Like this. Usually from the new pattern then I seal the function and I only have the ability to override a hook. But I was, yeah, using the old system here. Okay. Well, something's here, but what is that? I see that something spawned. But that dial should always be above, so that's the second thing that we can fix. The given key was not present. Reward dial price CS53. $53 gold SN. It's gold coin, right? No, it's just coin. And then meta coin, of course. Okay, that's another thing. And before I restart again, let's make dial, reward dial. And change its ordering to 10. Oh, something's working. First brick progress. It shows this room like 3 times. The same one. That's not realistic, so there has to be a bug here. And we don't have the interaction yet wired, but okay. I wonder if this is tanking performance in any way. Show player HUD. No, show debug. Not really. All good. If the 3 things are gonna be rotating, that's gonna be too much probably. Resolve prize. When I'm assigning this reward, I should duplicate it. So I lose the reference. That's the reason why we had problems, that the 3 items were assigned. Now, if I'm not mistaken, now it should pick different items. At least try to. But maybe I just had the wrong pool from where it can take the items. That's another possibility. Ah, we have different items now. And that's cool. We have a bomb, boomerang, starfall, and 2 coins. But if I make everything spin so slowly, it's like cheating. What if we try to make it spin like faster? Because this could be also conditioned with the difficulty. Or maybe first the state would be that it spins everything slowly, but if you interact with it first, it starts spinning it fast. And then you select that one, but that's like a lot of interactions already. Okay, that's a bit faster. What if we go faster? Did you crash for real again? Like, let's do 0.25. Is the person gonna get sick if he's gonna look at this? Probably. Now we're talking. Cool, huh? Okay, we can improve on this. have 2 states of spinning. Like idle, it's slow spin. Then okay. It made some changes. So what I can do here now is I can somewhere assign the speed, and that's here. Idle speed is first, and I just change the current speed spin. That's gonna come from the interactable itself. Statue. And then we tween that thing that we spin and get a reward, but where's the reward? Okay. This should be better now. Let's try it again. Before we try it, let's see if we can do this with the interactor. Reward statue state. Let's add the simple state here. Idle. Idle spin, fast spin. Selected. Idle speed, active speed, that's okay. He's complicating stuff. What I wanted is only this switch statement here, which then I can simply modify however I want. Be right back, another leak. Back. Now setting the speed. Idle speed, active speed. It can be exported. But I should have just helper function here. Let's see if this works now. No? Aha, 1 and 3 layer. Okay. Okay, it spins. It stops down. That's good. Let's try it again. It was a bit... something was a bit off. Let's try it. I interact. It starts to spin. And then another interact, it slows down. Good. Let's try, for example, if I can pick something cool. Okay, for example, I'd like to pick now that arrow spin rune. Almost. Now let's go for Starfall. Yeah. Bomb. Okay. Okay, we continue now. Stop and get reward. Statue stopped that. Let's see. Then here we'd have to spawn it. Come on, Control F. Nothing. What is that? Aha, resource name. Of course not. Then I have to parse it. Let's call this one destroy. Rewards at the end. Maybe I can add, for example, an integer, like rewards picked. Okay, this one returns it. Stop and get reward. That makes sense. Not a problem at all, but I should also kind of destroy this thing. Okay, don't complicate, dude. Don't complicate for now. So I wait for like 0.5 seconds. I'm gonna call it here before I give back reward and so on. Synchronously called. Let's call it spins available. And spins taken. Rewarded spins available, better name. And here I say rewarded spins taken plus plus. If rewarded spins taken equals or more than spins rewarded spins available, we destroy the dial. Also here let's add a helper class. Private bool should be destroyed. And I can just simply grab this in here. Okay, we go a bit further up. If it should be destroyed and this is being called, it's a guard. Return. So that's okay. And here we have destroy dial. Maybe we could do asynchronous that kind of all the items get destroyed. Spawned prizes. Maybe here we can say spawned prize, that it destroys itself. Okay. And then when I get back reward, here at the reward statue, picked reward. I wonder, stop and get reward. Okay, then based on this, I'm gonna spawn it here, reward pickup place, something, some kind of node. shit, no, that's wrong. Not a good order. Whew, yeah, I'll continue, guys, but I'll stop streaming. Got some errands to do. Be back in the evening. So, bye-bye.